What's up everyone, welcome back to Blood, Sweat and Gears. My name is Sander and in this crate is a 1966 Vespa 150 Super VBC that I started restoring with my father about 7 years ago, give or take at this point. And today we're going to unbox it from this crate. This Vespa hasn't really been worked on in the last 6 years or so. It's been in the family for a better part of 8+, maybe coming up on 10 years now. And it's been sitting like this, disassembled, waiting for paint for, like I said, better part of 6 years. The first 3 episodes of this series were not very interesting in my opinion. I was a kid after all. And those videos are linked down in the description on another channel. That channel is not really in use anymore, but I figured if you'd like to see how this series started, you're welcome to go down there and check it out. I don't recommend it necessarily. You're not really missing much. I mean, it's really just 3 episodes of sanding, and I was a kid at the time. Now, however, those 3 episodes got more traction than anything I've ever put online, and they had way more support than I was expecting, to be completely honest, and the comments were mostly just asking for episode 4, which is now on the channel as just like an intro to this new series to bring everyone over here, in case they still wanted to watch the series. So here we are, years later, continuing the project. Like I said, I've moved across the country. I live on my own now with my partner and a roommate, and this is the Vespa in this crate right here. So we're going to unbox it today and continue this project after so many years and actually get it done for real this time. So let's just start by opening up this crate, getting everything out, and I am losing daylight pretty quick, so I want to try to unbox this relatively quickly, get everything inside, so we can kind of take a closer look at everything that's in this box. But first, really quick, for those of you that are coming from the other channel where this series started, I just wanted to thank you for your support and your patience with me throughout this process, and thank you for sticking around and watching the series. I really hope you enjoy it. And for those of you that are new here, welcome to Blood, Sweat, and Gears. This is a channel where I make videos with my older brother and occasionally my roommate, where we just work on our various projects, like our fewer cars, like my Saab and my roommate's Volvo, my brother's Ram Charger, and just odd bits and bobs here and there. And now we're also introducing this Vespa to the series and the channel as well. So I hope you enjoyed this restoration series of this Vespa. It's going to be probably going through the year of 2024, hopefully starting as early as January or February. But without further ado, let's just get this box open, let's get cracking, get everything out of it, see what's inside, see what treasures await us, especially since we're running out of daylight, and let's go from there. It is getting really dark really fast. I mean, I just got home from work, so unfortunately I didn't have a bunch of time, and I'm struggling to see the screws, so hopefully we can make this work. And there she is, the old Vespa. It's all, looks like all here. We got drums, fork, bearings, the body of course, and motor. Wow, all right. Well, I'm gonna pull out some of these extra supports, get some more stuff out of the way, and let's start pulling stuff out. All right, well, I was kind of hoping I could just start pulling stuff out of the top, but I'm not sure that's going to be super easy with how compact everything is here. I do think I can get a lot of the smaller stuff out, but I think our best bet's probably going to be to remove that box out the front of the crate by pulling off this other wooden panel, and then everything else should be able to kind of slide over and come out the top pretty easily, or just again out the front. So let's get that pulled off real quick and make sure we get this going. Alright, so here we have a box inside of our crate. I'm not sure what's in it. I think some documentation, owner's manuals, that kind of stuff, but I imagine quite a few parts as well. So let's try and get this thing out of here. Well, it's not too heavy. Alright. Here's our original front fairing that we spent way too much time trying to make straight and look good. Here's our second front fairing that we ended up getting after all that work, so we can put this one on the car after it's painted, on the Vespa after it's painted, since it's in much better shape. Well, to be completely honest, It's getting dark super quick. I can even barely see out here. The camera is way brighter than what I'm seeing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just unpack everything off camera, bring it inside the house, and we're gonna just review everything in there since we'll have way more light to actually see what's going on. And here it is. You join me in my kitchen where I have all the parts. Now, everything you see here should be enough to complete one, maybe 1.25 Vespas, since we have 2 motors. There's one there, that's the old one over there, that's the new one. And then we have the new front fork, and the old front fork's buried down there somewhere. You can kind of see part of it right there. So obviously everything is super dusty. I mean, when I said it's been sitting collecting dust, I was not kidding. So I think step 1 is just go over everything with maybe paper towels or a rag or something. Just wipe all the dust off for at least the majority of it. And then I want to go through those boxes and see what we have inside, and then that will conclude today's episode. Oh boy. This is gonna take a few rags. Quick break from the time lapse there. Wipe down most of the body here. Again, this is just a quick wipe down, not a full clean, obviously. I mean, everything here is going to need another light sanding, maybe another coat of primer, and then it'll be ready for paint. But at least now it's handleable. I can touch it without getting absolutely disgusting on my hands. And yeah, it's just as I remember it. I mean, you can see there's self-etching primer over it, so probably gonna have to sand all that down a little bit and give it just one last coat of final primer. Our gas tank, we did have another gas tank for it that was covered in layers and layers and layers of paint. I don't think this is that one. I think we actually ended up buying a new gas tank. It looks pretty clean inside there, because I think the old one was pretty grody on the inside as well. The old engine, I'm just gonna throw that into storage because we're basically not using this. I'm holding it on for parts. Our 2 fairings, front fairings. We put way too much time and effort into this thing, and it's really, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, you can see it's got the body lines of definition there, but overall, I mean, it's just not right. It's a little wavy, just not super straight. So my dad ended up buying this replacement front fairing. I think this one is a reproduction. I don't think it's obviously original or anything, but it will work for our needs. So this thing will also get a coat of primer before it goes off to paint. Maybe a bit of Bondo just to smooth things off here and there, but I don't want to go crazy on it like we did with this one. I mean, you can even feel the weight difference. This is much lighter. Engine cover fairing for the rear. Again, it looks kind of gross, but it's just little stuff just in the primer. So again, a light sanding will get all this off nice and clean. And this one's pretty much ready to go. Again, just light sanding, coat of primer, and it's off to paint. Same with the rear one. I haven't cleaned that one yet because, again, it's all buried here. Our new front fork with new shock and strut. This cover looks like it's been dented, but I think we can find a replacement for this pretty easily. Just this actual metal valence piece, so not too worried about that. Looks like it's got a drum already on it. I would imagine that the brake assembly is all in here, but I obviously haven't checked yet. But it's got all the mechanisms for it right there, so that's something that we'll have to look into. But again, I'm not really too worried about that quite yet. But the main reason I wanted to take a break, I'm still out of breath, is for this. This is our box of miscellaneous parts. This has all of our chrome trim that goes around the edge of the body and along the inside as well. Looks like, yep, there's our old gas tank with many, many layers of paint that was on it. Of course, we're going to use the nice new one. Ooh, this is my collection of rock auto magnets. This was in my room back in Florida. Just forgot to bring them with me. Now I finally have them. Those can go in the fridge. What is inside this little red tin? Oh, this looks like fuel hardware. Our original fuel lid, which I think I'll actually reuse this because this one is primered. And I don't really want to try to paint that just because of all little nooks and crannies and edges that we'd have to try and get paint into. So we'll probably just pull that cap off. Use a nice chrome one, just clean that up. Fuel lines, filters, gaskets. Looks like possibly a rear strut back in there. This is documentation for the scooter. Of course, you have to have a restoration manual for the scooter. That's always good to have. Oh, we have another metal tin. Like I said, it's middle of December, so Christmas came early. Inside here, some more miscellaneous hardware. Looks like there's a key in there, some bearings, things like that, some relays. Look at that. Original badge that goes on the front of the scooter. Here we have our shifter linkage and control lever for the handlebar side that goes on your left hand, and this one is going to be your throttle, spare tire bracket, the storage door for your glove box, I guess you could call it. Oh, I didn't know that we bought a replacement one of those. Or I probably did, but looks like I forgot because I thought that was the original. But no, here it is. The scooter that when we got it was red. With Ferrari badges on it, funnily enough. But I think the original color of it was blue, because when we sanded the old gas tank, there were many, many layers of blue underneath of it. Also, in the old series, I mentioned we were going to paint it a gold, not gold, but like a metallic copper, I think is what I called it. And that was actually going to be a pretty cool color, I think. And we actually, funny enough, we bought paint. In fact, we had paint for that probably a year or two after, if that, from the last episode that we put on the old channel. So we were actually going to spray that color again. We were just waiting for that new front fork so we can color match it because it does come primed, and that just ended up taking longer than we expected it to. But that plan has changed. Of course, that paint went bad a long time ago, just sitting, so that's not the paint we're using. So I will be ordering some more paint for this thing. But I've decided to go with an off-white kind of color, almost like a beige. I guess kind of like this wall, actually. I think it's more period correct than a flashy metallic copper chrome, as cool as that would have looked. Copper chrome, metallic copper. As cool as metallic copper would have looked, I just don't think it really suits the whole restoration / resto mod concept that I'm trying to go for here. I think an off-white, tannish beige kind of color would be more period correct, and I think it would look really sharp still, especially with some like black rubber gaskets on like the floor pan and just around the fairings and things like that. I just think it'll look really good with that contrast on the beige. Let's see what else we got. So here's our black seat cover for the seat that goes on. I don't actually know where the seat is. Probably stuff down there somewhere. But this is an aftermarket seat cover with white piping. My dad was saying it was kind of thin, so he wasn't sure if he wanted to use it. I see what he's saying. And I also don't know if I want to run black. Oh! There's a color I want. Kind of that off-white, and you can see, yeah, it has the same kind of black seat on it. But I was actually thinking of putting a tan seat cover on it, mainly just to help with the heat. But maybe if I find a nice black one, I'll throw that one on. Of course, this is always an option. I think reupholstering the seat wouldn't be too hard in the first place anyways. So we'll see what happens with that. That's still to be determined. Another drum in here for the brakes. I'm not sure front or rear or if they're interchangeable. I honestly don't know too much about the mechanical aspect besides of it's a simple two-stroke motor that goes in with 2 bolts, nice and easy. So obviously I have a lot of learning to do with throughout this big Lego project. Ooh! Looks like we have some reproduction badges. Very cool. The taillight assembly. What's in here? Some kind of gaskets and things. Hardware. Gasket for the tail light. is dusty though. Yep, and there's all our brake hardware. Yeah, I think those are either original or, well, obviously not shocks from 1966, but I think just the shocks that came with the car. I don't think they were super old. There's cables and everything are in here, spindles, all that fun stuff. So this is all our driveline stuff, it seems like, down there. Oh, looks like we have a tan seat cover as well. I think this is the one that possibly came on it, since it was red. It didn't have a black cover, if I remember correctly. I'll have to look at the old pictures that we have, but it looks like we have a tan one anyway. Maybe if that one's okay, I'll throw that one on instead. Man, there's just so much stuff here. I honestly don't want to pull out this entire box here in the kitchen because I wouldn't have anywhere to put it right now. We do have a spare room that this is all going to go in, just have to make some space there. Looks like we have our 3 tires with tubes in them, which are, wow, these are holding air. Hang on. Oh my gosh, can you hear that? These are holding air, which is nice, all 3 of them. These have been sitting, again, for like 6 years. I don't think he inflated them before he shipped it, but maybe he did. I'm not 100% sure. Our other fairing, where the storage compartment goes. Here's our rim edges, or our rims for the drums, so we can actually put the tires on. And these are 10-inch tires. Since we're doing 10-inch rims, I think these are set up for 10-inch, these barrels. I actually don't know. But we do have a 10-inch fork. Since this originally came with 8 inches, we're going for 10s for a little bit more stability and just a little bit more speed as well. And of course our handlebar assembly that holds our headlight, the speedometer, all our controls and throttle and everything will go on there. And then there's a new engine. Looks like we already have the rear drum on here as well. This is our replacement engine that is going to go in it. The old engine did run, like, it seemed fine for the most part, but we figured, well, we're in here. This motor was relatively cheap, as far as I can remember at least. Like, it's been years, my memory's foggy, but figured if we're doing a whole restoration, let's put a nice new engine in it as well, just so we can avoid any headaches. And you can see this one is fitted for electric start as well. So if we wanted, we can put a starter here, put a battery inside the compartment there, and remove the Kickstarter to give it electric start. For now, I'm probably just going to leave the kickstart on. It's more authentic anyways, but in the future, I don't think it'd be very hard to add the electric start. I will have to fab up some kind of plate to cover up this hole, unless, who knows, maybe there's one already somewhere in all these boxes. But of course, if we're not running the electric start, I don't want to have that hole just open to the flywheel there. Here's our Vespa and how it looks right now. And hopefully by, at the very latest, this time next year, this will all be a whole scooter in one piece. But I'm hoping, of course, for sooner than that. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, for like a 6-month turnaround on this. Again, I just have to really lightly wet sand all these parts, give them another coat of primer, maybe polish that up with some wet sanding as well, paint it, and then it's just assembly. I mean, it looks like everything's here. Tires, all the hardware, trim, I mean, everything should be pretty much good to go. Well, I think that'll pretty much do it for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope to see you stick around for this restoration project, and of course subscribe to see our other projects as well. The Vegan should be getting some love throughout next year, 2024 as well. Doesn't need too much, but just a couple of odds and ends to get it back on the road, just because it's been sitting with its own issues for a little while that I'm trying to get through. So yeah, like and subscribe to the channel if you guys want to see more, and we hope to see you around. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.